For 60 years, space belonged to governments. NASA called the shots, NASA paid the bills, and NASA owned the hardware when the mission ended. That world is gone. Right now, one U.S. state controls more of the new space race than almost anyone expected. It's not Florida, it's not California, it's Texas. And what's happening there is rewriting the rules of the entire industry. The global space economy is worth more than $650 billion today, and it keeps growing. For most of history, this was a government-only game. Now, it's wide open. Small startups and massive private companies are racing to build rockets, land on the moon, and launch satellites. Texas saw this coming early, and the state bet everything on it. Today, 3 of the biggest names in commercial space call Texas home, along with a growing list of smaller players chasing the same dream. To understand how one state ended up running an entire industry, you have to go back to where U.S. spaceflight began.
Houston has been the heart of U.S. spaceflight since the 1960s. Every Apollo mission ran through NASA's Johnson Space Center here. This is the place that said, "The Eagle has landed," when astronauts first touched the moon. This is the place that heard, "Houston, we've had a problem," during the Apollo 13 crisis. For decades, this building trained the engineers who ran the country's space program. Then something interesting happened. Many of those engineers didn't retire. They started their own companies instead. And the natural place to build them was right next door, in Texas.
Today, 3 giants of commercial space all call Texas home. SpaceX runs its Starbase site on the southern tip of the state, right on the Gulf Coast. Being close to the equator gives rockets extra speed heading into orbit, which is part of why SpaceX picked that spot. Blue Origin, founded by Jeff Bezos, built its launch site out in West Texas, near the small town of Van Horn. And in Houston, right next to Johnson Space Center, companies like Axiom Space and Intuitive Machines have set up shop, many of them staffed by former NASA employees. Then there's Firefly Aerospace, based just outside Austin. Firefly is now worth billions of dollars, and it earned that value the hard way. In March 2025, Firefly's lunar lander touched down upright on the moon. That made Firefly the first private company in history to pull off a fully successful moon landing. The trip took 45 days from Earth to the moon, and the lander carried 10 NASA science experiments on board. Since then, Firefly has landed NASA contracts worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The company recently expanded its rocket testing facilities near Austin, too, and it keeps its entire manufacturing process inside Texas. That's not an accident. Keeping everything in-house and in-state is what lets Firefly move fast and scale up.
But rocket history alone doesn't explain why Texas won this race. There's something else going on. Texas has a massive oil and gas industry, and on the surface, drilling for oil and launching rockets look nothing alike. Look closer though, and the overlap is obvious. Heavy machinery, metal fabrication, telemetry systems built to survive harsh environments. Those are the same skills offshore drilling companies have used for decades. Texas also has a growing renewable energy sector, and solar power happens to be critical for running satellites in orbit. On top of that, Texas has wide open land for engine testing, and the state keeps regulation light, which makes building fast and cheap.
SpaceX made its commitment to Texas official in 2024, when it moved its headquarters there from California. Since then, the company has built massive new solar and computer chip factories in the state. Then came the biggest moment yet. In June 2026, SpaceX went public in the largest IPO in stock market history, raising $75 billion
and pushing its value past $1.7 trillion almost overnight. That made Elon Musk the world's first trillionaire. And notice where the celebration happened. SpaceX didn't just list on the regular NASDAQ exchange in New York. It also listed on NASDAQ's new Texas exchange, right in the state the company now calls home.
But this growth hasn't come without a cost. SpaceX's Starbase sits right next to sensitive wetlands and mudflats that are home to several endangered species. Rocket testing and explosions have already reshaped the landscape around that beach. Some Texans have pushed back, worried about the environmental toll of building a rocket factory in a fragile ecosystem. The state, though, has kept moving forward, backing the industry with taxpayer money despite that criticism.
In 2023, Texas lawmakers created the Texas Space Commission to help fund this growth. Since then, the commission has handed out more than $150 million in grants to companies across the state, including SpaceX, Blue Origin, Firefly, and Intuitive Machines. And Texas isn't slowing down. Lawmakers have already approved another $300 million for the next round of grants, bringing the state's total commitment to $450 million. So, where does NASA fit into all of this now? Last year alone, more than $55 billion in private money flowed into the space industry. Compare that to NASA's own budget, which has stayed around $24 billion a year for decades.
NASA used to work like this. Ask a contractor to build a rocket, pay for the whole thing, then own it once it's done. That model is changing fast. NASA is becoming less of an owner and more of a customer, buying rides and services from private companies instead of building everything itself. That shift shows up clearly in NASA's Artemis program, the effort to send astronauts back to the moon and eventually build a permanent base there. Unlike Apollo, which was entirely government-run, Artemis leans heavily on private companies. Commercial companies build the landers. NASA handles the overall integration, making sure all the pieces fit together. Back in 2018, NASA launched a program called Commercial Lunar Payload Services, run out of Houston. Under that program, NASA pays private companies upfront to fly science experiments to the moon. That upfront money, plus a guaranteed paying customer, makes it much easier for those companies to raise private investment on top of it.
None of this is new. SpaceX pioneered the model. Back in 2008, a $1.6 billion NASA contract saved the company from going bankrupt. That early government money helped SpaceX build its Falcon 9 rocket, which turned the company into the busiest launch provider on the planet. Today, most of SpaceX's revenue comes from Starlink, its satellite internet service, not from launches. But none of that growth happens without that early NASA lifeline. Younger Texas companies like Firefly are following the same playbook, mixing government contracts with commercial deals, defense work, and science partnerships, so the business never depends on just one customer.
So why does this matter? Because competition is doing something NASA alone never could: driving costs down fast. When multiple companies compete for the same contracts, prices fall and innovation speeds up, which means NASA can attempt more missions with the same budget. Texas benefits too, through jobs, tax revenue, and influence over where the next era of space exploration gets built. But this growth raises real questions. How much environmental damage is acceptable in the name of progress? Should taxpayer money keep flowing to companies as large and well-funded as SpaceX? And what happens to the workers and ecosystems caught in the middle of a state betting its future on rockets? There's no clear answer yet. What is clear is that Texas has put itself at the center of a story that used to belong entirely to the federal government.
Space used to feel like something only governments could touch. Now, it's an industry built by private companies, funded by private investors, and increasingly run out of a single U.S. state. Texas turned its oil fields, open land, and NASA history into the launch pad for the next space race. Whatever comes next, a moon base, a Mars mission, or something nobody has thought of yet, there's a good chance it gets built in Texas first. If you enjoy learning about the future of AI, robotics, and emerging technology, subscribe to AI 2040 Almanac. We'll keep bringing you the biggest breakthroughs before they become everyday news.